Okay, well, in this video, we're going to show you how you can use Quizlet to help you study along with the other work that you're doing at Sandbox Learning. I will move the image of me so it's a little bit easier to focus on what we're doing. There we go. So the first thing you want to do is head to quizlet.com. If you're using Quizlet as part of Sandbox Learning, you've probably been sent a link to a class, an invite, or something like that. And so you've probably already been asked to sign up with an account. If not, head to sign up and then go through that. I already have an account, so I will just log in. Details are pretty filled, which is nice. Okay, so this is the home page. Unfortunately, if you're using a free account, which most likely you are, unfortunately, Quizlet does have quite a few annoying ads and things trying to get you to upgrade, so just kind of ignore that. Just showing you how the home page bit works. On the left-hand side, you'll see your kind of main navigation. If you haven't created any study sets or folders, you probably won't have anything here. And the main thing will be the classes that you've been invited to. If you have used it before, you'll have some of the recent study sets up here. So you can kind of go there, you can view all if you want. But for the purpose of this, I'll go to one of the classes. Okay, so if you scroll down, you'll see all the different study sets that you have. By default, it should be sorted from the most recent, but you can then do alphabetically if you prefer. Might make it a bit easier for you to sort them. So I'll show you how you'd go about trying to learn some of these. So for example, let's go to, let's do perimeter and area, for example. So you just kind of click on that. So I'll go through in this video a few of the main ways that you can use Quizlet to start learning your definitions or your formulas, or your times tables, depending on what the study sets are. The first thing that you want to have are just the flashcards. And so there are two ways to look at this. The first way, if you scroll down, you'll see the study sets. So on the left side here, you'll see the kind of terms. And then on the right side here, you'll have definitions. Depending on what they are, they might have some formulas, they might have some images in there, or they might just be kind of definitions, particularly for some of the year 12 subjects like business studies, a lot of definitions there to learn. So as part of this, you can use this to study them in the way that you prefer. Or you can go up here and the flashcards will also be listed. So on one side, you have the term. If you click on the other side, you'll have the definition. As part of learning it, what you want to be able to do is look at the term and then be able to answer without looking at the definition, but be able to answer. So the perimeter of a square is equal to 4s. So we can check, great, I know that. Now I'll move on to the next one. Area of the square, know this one, so it's side squared, and we check. So go through, the first step is to go through and learn the flashcards, trying to commit them to memory. So if you've been part of Sandbox before, you'll know that there are different ways that we encourage students to do it, using the Lightner method, being able to go through. But another good way, particularly if you want to print these out, is to cover up one side and then look at them and go the other way around. And there are ways that you can do this. If you go here, you're able to print out your flashcards, and there are a variety of ways that you can do it. You can do it as a table, you can do it as index cards if you actually want flashcards that you can have yourself. You can do them as tables. There are a variety of ways to do that. which is really nice, but we'll go back to the set. So imagine you've now learned them, or you feel fairly confident. You want to actually test that out. So the first way we do that is we head to Learn. Now, what we can see here is you've got the 12 cards. Since I haven't done this set yet, all 12 of them are remaining. The first step is to get familiar. And the way that Quizlet does that is to make it a little bit easier for you. It'll give you some multiple choice answers. Later, we'll see that what happens when you go to mastered is you'll have to do it yourself, normally by writing the answer. So here, the distance around a closed shape, I know is perimeter. Here we have kind of a definition. And so looking at that, what is this the perimeter of? Well, it's the perimeter of a rectangle. But why don't I just say it's the area of a rhombus so that we can see what happens if you get it wrong. So in the event you get it wrong, don't just be quick and press any key to go. You want to look at the definition, compare the answer you had to what you should really have, and go, okay, I understand. The perimeter of a rectangle is 2L plus 2W, not what I thought it was before. So I get to move on. Because I got it wrong, it stays in remaining and it hasn't moved in familiar, unlike the first one. Here, I know that this one is the area of a parallelogram. So I'll go through and then hopefully I can get through these quickly and show you what happens with mastery to the next level. The amount of stuff in the shape is area, half base times height is the area of a triangle. And that is area of a square. So you'll notice here, we've got this one coming again. Just because you got it wrong doesn't mean it goes. It'll get recycled so you can have another go. Now that we've remembered it, can answer it again. Great. This is what I want. What it'll do is it'll show you the ones that we were able to get right. By moving on, no, this is still unfamiliar, so hopefully we'll kind of be able to keep going a little bit later. Okay, wonderful. To move from familiar to mastered, now they kind of take away the extra support of multiple choice and you need to be able to do it here. So here it's showing you the perimeter of a triangle and you need to be able to write the answer. So what happens if you don't know? Well, it'll give you kind of a bit of a hint. Now this one, actually the answer was in there, so it's a little bit, should have been a little bit easier. Going back to this one. Okay, here we've got the definition, and this is the area of a parallelogram. So imagine, you know, we add an extra letter that shouldn't be there. Quizlet has a bit of smart, so it's generally fairly good at understanding when they're similar. Where here it says your answer is pretty close, right? So here, yes, it is correct. We just misspelled it. So you did know, you just didn't spell it correctly. Given this is math and not English, we'll say that's okay, that's correct. Again, perimeter of a rectangle. Imagine you just said perimeter rectangle. Again, here, it reckons that you're wrong because we're missing a few key words. Given that you think you're correct, you have the ability to override that. And so when you go around there, okay, great. Finally mastered a couple. What you want to do is you want to work through this until all of them have gone through mastery, which won't do because you can do it in your own time. You're not here to watch me learn a bunch of flashcards. Once you've learned them, you have the ability to do it in two other ways. So write is as you would expect. You're just given the question and you want to write the answer. Spell is not so helpful, particularly for this kind of things. Great when you're doing language learning. It will, or you're trying to spell correctly from hearing it. In that case, well, we'll try it. You type what you hear. So you can press this
area of a parallelogram,
and you'll be able to hear something, and you can type it in, but not something that we want. So I should also mention, if we go back to learn, you have the option of which way you want to test the flashcards. If you go to options, so it's a good way to do it, good exercise to do it all in one way, where you have the definition and you have to pick the term. But if you want to go the other way, you can actually flip it. So you want to put in the definition. And so in this case, yes, I'll start over. It'll give you the area of a rhombus, and then you have to click on the one that's correct. So it's good to do it both ways. Really important to be able to do things back and front. So you've gone through, at that point, you should have gone through the flashcards. You've now tested yourself with kind of learning, potentially writing and spelling. Finally, you might want to go and test yourself to see how everything's going. Here, there are a variety of different ways that the test can be done. So you can hit options, and so there are 4 question types that Quizlet has. You can have written, matching, multiple choice, true and false, and I'll show you what each of them are. Written questions is, as we just saw, they give you the term of the definition, you have to type in the answer. For matching questions, it's kind of like multiple choice, but you are given some of the definitions, some of the terms, and you have to type in, A, B, C, or so on. Multiple choice, as you would expect, they give you a question, and then you just click which options that you think is the right one, and then finally true false. Not a big fan of true false. I think multiple choice or writing is much better, but up to you. They give you a definition, they'll match it with a term, and you say whether that's correct or not, so true or false. And then at the end, you can check your answers and see how you go. If you prefer to print things off, sometimes really nice to just have a hard copy test, well, you can go through and it will print the test. So it's a nice thing that you can do, print off a few tests, and something that you may want to come back to in a week or so's time to actually see how well you remembered it. So they're the basics of Quizlet, going through your different sets, learning your flashcards either through here or below, going through the learn, the write, the spelling, and then finally the test. Something that I will point out that I haven't done so far, because we've gone through that learn mode, now if you go down, what it will show you, instead of just showing you the original flashcards as before, you can actually have them sorted based on how you went. So up here, you see some that are sometimes missed. If we had done the exercise a few more times, you also potentially have some flashcards which are often or always missed. So we've got 2 here that didn't get right every single time. Then below, the ones that are always correct. So what I really like about this is it does a nice prioritization for you. The ones that you get always correct, they're the ones you don't have to spend much time on. Right? For now, you can leave them and come back to them when you're doing your revision again. Whereas these sometimes missed, they're the ones you want to spend extra time on. It's been identified that you didn't remember them, so you want to go and learn those flashcards again, because they're the ones that are likely to be forgotten or missed in future. And so if they come up on a class assignment or a test, if you don't remember them, then you're not going to be able to answer those questions. Okay, so that brings us to the end of this particular video. On the next one, we'll go through, once you're kind of more confident, how to go into the match and gravity games to kind of build up your speed and recall.